What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. We're in the garage again working on the Honda Prelude, the rear wheel drive Honda Prelude. And if you don't know what's going on and you haven't seen the last videos, go down right now and subscribe. Great content on its way. Let me show you what you've missed, and maybe you can stay tuned for the future. You're gonna see some great things happening. Before I show you what I got going on here, basically last night my father-in-law came over because he wanted to help me out, get some welding done here, and he went to town. He was welding and grinding for hours, and before I show you what he did, go look at my last video if you haven't already. I'll show you a little quick clip. Basically what it is, these are the frame supports that I needed to custom make so that I can get this subframe bolted up in the car. So I tacked it all in place, and then my father-in-law came by and he started welding them solid, grinding them to make them look nice, and getting them ready so that we can prime and paint them, and they are going to look seamless, almost like factory. I can't believe how they turned out. Let me show you what I'm looking at right now. So this side is essentially done. As bare metal, yes, we need to prime it and paint over it, but eventually this whole engine bay will be painted one color and it'll all be cleaned up and nice. But yeah, that looked like this before we ground it all down and everything, so that's what I got to work on as well. I got to grind all that down. That's a project that my father-in-law gave me to get ready for him, because he's going to put a little bit of Bondo to smooth this out and make it look really nice. But yeah, this is going to be great. So my father-in-law gave me a project to do. He already got the one side pretty well done, and I gotta go on the other side and I gotta grind that down and get it ready for him. So that's one thing I gotta do. The other thing I gotta do is work on making new frame supports. I don't know what you would call these, but I cut them off. There was two, one on each side, and they were not in a position where we could have used them. Keep in mind, these are from a Mustang and we're making them work on a Prelude. So what I gotta do is I gotta custom make these to match them to the contour of the subframe there and raise them up about 4 or 5 inches to where we need them to work. And that's what I'm going to be working on now. I got to make those templates so that tomorrow when I pick up the metal, I can start transcribing everything over to metal, cutting them out, tacking them in place, and then my father-in-law can come and help me weld those solid. Okay, so this is basically what I'm talking about. So right here you can see that there's a hole for a bolt. And obviously this is the subframe here, but there's nothing to connect from here to there. So that's what I gotta make. I'm gonna make a piece that goes straight across here with a hole in it so that I can bolt up from here into that. Okay, so this workplace is a mess right now, but I don't really care. I'm gonna show you guys my thought process on how I turn these into templates and how I even start. So I know that I cut these off and they're about 4 inches lower than where I need to weld the existing ones. So I know that the contour is going to be similar to this, at least with the width, but it's going to be different. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this and cut it onto a piece of paper and then see how close it is to what I need, and then I can adjust and make different versions as I go. So I'll show you what I'm talking about. Now I'm just going to take that and put it up against the subframe, and wherever there's gaps or wherever I need to cut out some, I just make marks exactly like that, and then I put it on another piece of paper and try again. And I keep making different versions so I get closer and closer. So basically from here I got another line, I made a mark, and I'm going to adjust the template according to that line, and I do it over and over again. I won't bore you with the details and all the different versions. So again, we are just going to skip right to the final product. And if you're wondering, yes, I just bolted in a piece of paper. It helps me figure out the template, alright? So don't say anything in the comments. Alright, so I got both sides made up, and since the car is symmetrical and the subframe is exactly center, I just took the first piece and flipped it over and made a second piece. So that's what I got here. Alright guys, well, it's the next day. I mean, if you've been watching my videos, you already know that that all my videos go longer than one day. They're always 2 or 3 days all mashed up in one video. I was cutting those and I realized that my grinder wheel was too big for me to make the turns that I had to make. So I took them to my father-in-law's place and he let me, well, I mean, he used the plasma cutter, he did everything. He cut these out with his plasma cutter because then he can get these nice curves. I mean, I can grind them and everything, but so he did that for me. And then while we were there, the drill press was also there, so might as well drill the holes that I needed as well. So I got those made up. All right, so now I'm just gonna check to see how close we are with the actual fitment of this. I'm gonna get it lined up, hopefully bolted in, and then I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so now you guys might be able to get an idea, a better idea of what I was trying to do. So I got it bolted in right now. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So I got it bolted in right here. And as you can see, if I hold this camera kind of flat, you can see that that's not level right now. That's not parallel to the ground, which means it's kind of tipped up too much higher this way. So what I gotta do is I gotta go in and I gotta mark where it's touching and I gotta start grinding that away so that I can start dropping that down to get it flatter. And then once that's in, I'm gonna mark where I need to grind, tack weld it in, and then I'm gonna make some side pieces. And you'll see exactly what I'm talking about in the next few clips. Alright guys, so I made the templates that I'm gonna need. I was going to just transfer them over to metal right now and cut them. But I got a message from a buddy of mine who's been looking for a solid rear axle for me for a while, and we found one. It's about an hour and a half away, which is not too bad, but I'm going to pick it up in the morning, and it's getting pretty late right now, as you can see behind me through the window. So I'm going to bed. We're going to continue this video probably on the road, on the highway, going to pick up the rear end, and then after that, hopefully, we'll be finishing this up. So we'll see how it goes. Stay tuned. Alright guys, it's the next morning. I'm going to pick up the Ford 8.8 solid rear axle. Hopefully I got space in the back here. It's about an hour and a half away, so not too bad. And the guy seems really nice. He gave me a really good deal. Money that I would have saved like probably $400 or $500 if I bought it locally just from a junkyard and rebuilt it myself. It already has been converted for calipers. It used to be a 4-lug nut. Now it's converted to 5-lug nut because it's from a Fox body. And the guy claims that he ran it in a 1,000 wheel horsepower drag car. And my car is only going to be like 500 horsepower max. So this is going to be plenty for what I need. I am excited. Let's go pick it up. Alright, I've only been on the road for like 30 minutes, but I had to make a comment. I mean, I love my Jeeps. They're fantastic vehicles. I love them to death. But the one thing that I don't really like particularly is the fact that the gas gauge moves more often than the speedometer. But I mean, that's the price you pay, right? Alright guys, well I just loaded up. There's a guy's house. And yeah, there's the Ford 8.8 rear axle. This guy means business. This thing's already beefed up. It's gonna be way more than enough to handle my project, but I'm excited. I wanna go home though, so I'll see you guys when we get back. Alright guys, we are back from picking up the Ford 8.8 rear axle. Now time to pick up from where I left off last night. Alright guys, well I got all the pieces cut up, so now I'm going to take them over and make sure that they fit properly. I might have to trim them up a little bit, but I'm going to start welding these all together. Alright guys, well I pulled the subframe out and I finished tacking it in because there were some spots where I couldn't get it because the car was in the way. So I've got it pretty much all welded up. I mean, enough for now. My father-in-law is going to come and weld it solid later. But that's good enough for me. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm done. I got this basically all figured out. Once my father-in-law gets here, it'll be totally finalized. And I think he's going to come and also help me put the springs in this thing so that we can put this back on 4 wheels and get this thing rolling back and forth. just to make sure everything looks good, and then we can move forward from there. So again guys, I really appreciate it. Stay tuned next week. Hopefully you guys will see a video of this thing back on 4 wheels rolling around, and then we can move on to other things, because I know we've been stuck on this front suspension for a few weeks now, and it may not be the most entertaining content, but it's all I got right now. I'm trying to stay consistent, so bear with me, and you guys will see some good stuff coming out. Like I said, stay tuned, and thanks again guys. We'll see you next time.